Hello. Today I'm going to talk about storytelling. It's something that all humans do, but as you know, some people are better at telling stories than others. What's the secret? What's the secret to telling a good story? I'm not sure, but I looked it up on masterclass.com. I did a Google search and I found this information. I thought, oh, this is kind of useful. 7 points to improve your storytelling ability in English or in Japanese. It's true for everything, right? Okay, 7 points. Number 1, choose a clear central message. There needs to be one main point that you're getting to, right? Number 2, embrace conflict in a story, especially if you're reading a story or watching a movie. There's always a conflict. You know, the main character or the person in your story, or if it's you're telling a story about yourself, it's you. There's some kind of conflict. There's a problem that you've got to solve. And that's really what storytelling is. It's solving a problem. If you think about any movie, any Hollywood movie, there's always a central conflict. If you're telling a love story, it's about finding love. Oh, will he love me or won't he love me? You know, that there's a conflict. There's a problem that needs solving. Okay, so embrace conflict. Okay, have a clear structure. So it's clear when you're telling a story, and there are many kinds of structures, but basically there's a beginning, middle, and end. You can imagine what that means. At the beginning, you introduce the main character or the main problem. The middle, you talk about some problems. The end is when the solution to the problem happens. I'm going to give an example story in a moment. Okay. Mine your personal experiences. That's number 4. In other words, look into your personal history and find interesting facts that you can use, and that will be interesting. True details can add interest to your tale, it says here. Okay. Number 5, engage your audience. Means, well, here it says make eye contact. Use expressive words and gesture and emotion. Show emotion to your audience. Don't stand there saying, oh, I'm going to tell you a story and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to tell you a story. Are you listening? Right? Got your attention, right? Number 6 is observe good storytellers. See what people who tell better stories than you, see how they do it. Get some tips from them. Number 7, the last one, is narrow the scope. That means don't include every detail. Reduce down. When you're telling a story, you don't need to have every detail, just the key points. And less is more. Right? It says here, practice. Think about an experience in your life. Make a story about it and tell the class. I'll give you a quick story. It's not particularly interesting, but I'll try my best. How I ended up living in Abiko. Wow. So we were living, myself and my wife and my 2 young daughters and my mother-in-law were living in England. And we thought, we want to have our own business and move to Japan and start a new life here. Why did we choose Abiko? Okay, that's the beginning of the story, right? There's a problem, a conflict. We want to move to Japan. How did we choose Abiko? What was going on there? Okay. Well, we looked at a number of different places, or when I say looked, we Googled a number of different places and thought, well, we could live anywhere in Japan. My wife's family is from Hokkaido originally. I said, yeah, Hokkaido sounds good. No, too snowy and cold. Not many jobs. And when we looked at it, we realized we didn't really know any places except for around Chiba. My wife lived in Chiba. So Chiba was a strong candidate, but there were other places we could choose anywhere. But in the end, we decided Kanto was the best place for jobs, and also we're not good with snow, so snowy parts of Japan doesn't appeal to us. So that means Kanto. Tokyo is too expensive, so maybe somewhere in Chiba. Okay, we have experience of Chiba. Where in Chiba? Well, we looked at a map and we looked at Tokyo, Narita Airport, right in the middle, Abiko. And we happened to have a friend at the time who knew Abiko and said, "Oh yeah, Abiko is a nice place to live." So, okay, so that's the middle of the story. The end of the story. What happened? Well, we came to Abiko for, I think, was it 1 week? And we looked at many houses. We couldn't find exactly the right one, but on the last day that we were here, we found a place that we really liked in Konoyama. And we moved in eventually, but we put an offer in and, we actually saw it. We went back to England and had to finish up living in England. But we'd visited Abiko, decided this was the right place and found a place to live. Quite an adventure. Right, that was my little story. Do you see there was sort of a beginning? We were in England. Middle, oh, how did we decide we wanted to come to Abiko? An end. We finally moved and we flew here in 2007. A long, long time ago. Okay, that wasn't a particularly interesting story, but you can see there's a structure to it. There's a beginning, a middle, and end. I tried to use some real facts, some real things that happened. Yeah, not a very interesting one. I could polish that. But there you go. That's a basic story, and we all have stories that we want to tell, and it's it's a human thing. Something to practice. Okay, I've got 3 questions for you. Number 1, when do you need to tell stories? Number 2, what kind of stories would you like to be good at telling? Number 3, do you know any good storytellers? What makes them good? Okay, have a think. And thanks for your time. See you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Tell us a story when I see you next.